Hey guys, Evan Rourke here, back in another video, and today we're going to be doing a review on the MonsterArts King Kong 2021. Now, some minor details you guys should know about this figure before I get into detail with the review is that I got this figure, I should say I bought this figure from the Tokuist. I got it from him a week ago, that's why I made the box day of it, and I definitely recommend you subscribe to his content. If I remember, hopefully, I'll put the link down below, but if I forget, which hopefully won't happen, I'm just going to say right now, you guys should all subscribe to his channel. He makes some really, really good content. And so yeah, let's get into the actual things I like about this figure when it comes to the pros. And the number one thing I have to say when it comes to the pros of this figure is obviously articulation, as is the pro with many other MonsterArts, so it shouldn't be that much of a surprise. But articulation on this is very, very good. The joints, of course, are very noticeable. You have a lot of good joints here. You know, the same thing with the legs. You got the feet here, actual palms of the toes, and you got the waistline too. Waistline, good articulation waistline. There's not really any stiff joints. Matter of fact, I think some of the joints are a little bit too loose, but I guess we'll get into that later when it comes to the cons. And yeah, no, he is very, very good indeed. I really like the way he looks, and just the way he you know, moves around. I think the articulation on this is very, very good indeed. So yeah, let's get into the next thing I like about this figure. The next thing I like about this figure is, in fact, the detail. Now, the detail on this figure, I wouldn't say is the best thing on it, but it is definitely above average, as is the articulation, of course. And the detail, what can I say about it? I mean, you can really make out the fact that it's Kong. Facial detail is very, very good with the nostrils, the eyes, the mouth. You, of course, have the fur coat all across the figure here. You know, around the legs, the feet. These, like, you know, kind of like linear areas that make out the fur outline right here. You know, kind of like same thing we saw with the Bandai Kong 2021, the movie monster series that I reviewed, I think, last month or around there. So yeah, I think the detail on this is very, very good. A lot of good detail on the chest here. So I really think detail on this is very, very good, and it's definitely above average. So let's move on to the next thing I like about this figure. So last but not least, I like the paint job when it comes to this figure. Now, the detail and the articulation were way above average. The paint job is very good, but it's not so good, so it's above average, but not too much above average, or in other words, slightly above average. And that's because there's really only two main colors, that is brown and more of a grayish black. You get the grayish black when it comes to the areas without fur, like the chest, but of course, other than that, everything else is really brown to resemble the fur. And I know they couldn't do anything else other than that. I'm just saying that because there's no booming colors or anything like that, I can't really go out of my way to say that the paint job is fantastic because there's no booming colors. And booming colors, as you know, is what makes the paint job so good. But because these you know, are darker colors, it is quite difficult to really give the paint job too much of a pro. But for what it was, it's very good because there aren't many paint scuffs or anything like that. And before we even go on to the cons, because I'm not going to make this, you almost fell there, I'm not going to make this a pro of its own, of course. But before I go on to the cons, I'd like to show you some of the side accessories, of course, that he comes with. Here you have the head, and by the way, all the joints that replace a lot of the joints that replace stuff really, really nice. They snap off easily. It shouldn't be that big of a concern, at least when it comes to this figure that I have. But you have the head here. This is the roaring version of him. You have some different hand movements right here. This is when he's, I'm assuming, like on all fours, that one right here. You got another one for the other hand. You got him just kind of like a handshake kind of pose. Another handshake kind of pose. And last but not least, the battle axe. And of course, the hands that he has on right now isn't able to hold the battle axe. It's this one that's able to hold the battle axe. So kind of a fist position. But it's the position that we see a lot of figures look like when they're supposed to hold accessories. So they got the battle axe right here. This, on the other hand, does have booming colors. I mean, look at the blue there. That's really nicely painted. Everything else, however, matches the same kind of paint job we see on the Kong itself. So, yeah, without a further ado, let's get to the cons of this figure. So when it comes to the cons of this figure, I have one main issue and two nitpicks, and I'll obviously get into the main issue right now. The main issue I have with this figure is that it's very, very delicate. Now, one thing I will notice, and maybe I don't have enough MonsterArts to say this, but for the ones that I have now, and again, I forgot to mention that I haven't gotten an MonsterArts in years, unless you count the bootleg MonsterArts King Ghidorah. If you count that, then it's been months since I received an MonsterArts. But all the MonsterArts I have, despite the fact, of course, they're meant to be delicate when replacing pieces, but other than that, it should be nice and stiff. In this case, though, it's not. There are several joints that are unnecessarily loose, and that's why it's going to be very hard to really work on stuff like this. You know, poses, stop motion. I don't plan to make any stop motions with this, at least until I can fix this issue, for the reason that it's very hard to move joints. I'll give you an example right now. This is the easiest joint to snap off right here. This one. How convenient. Now it's being stiff on me. Now it's being stiff in front of the camera. But you get the idea. I think it's when you turn it, I think. No? Oh, there we go. The hand's supposed to come off though. But one of these joints, I don't know which one it is, but one of these joints around the arm areas is not very good when it comes to holding on tight. This one, I don't know why now it's working really, really well, but it wasn't earlier, you know. This joint. But there are, you know, other joints, especially when you bend the figure on the knees. I'm not going to do that because it's, you know, really like hell on earth to fix it. But the knees, when you bend them, they come off easily. This one, more specifically, the right one. So, yeah, they're very delicate. So you have to be very, very careful when you hold yours. And to give you an example of the snap-on, just like that, it's snapped on. I don't know if you can even hear the click because it's so loose. But the snap-on feature is very nice. But the other joints that shouldn't be so easy to snap off or break apart, and of course you can snap them back on, but they shouldn't be this delicate in the first place. And that's why a lot of people joke that you can't make stop motions with this SH MonsterArts, because it's very delicate. And I'm assuming the Godzilla one is the exact same way, but I have no plans to get that, so I have no idea. But the Kong one I can confirm is very delicate, so you have to be very careful, and that's my bigger con. The smaller nitpick is that he's a little bit too short in size, and I get that's only being movie accurate, but it could have been a little bit bigger because it's easier, it's better for figure posing, while in other cases it's not. So, you know, all I can say is that it's a little bit too short, but that's a nitpick. And the final nitpick is that he has trouble standing. Granted, right now he's able to stand, but the feet and the way that they can move, because they can, I don't know if you guys can tell, but this area, this joint right here, you can see a cutoff point. You can move this, and that's what causes the figure to have trouble standing, see? Yeah. So, I'm not saying it's impossible to keep it stood still, but it's not always perfect. So, that's a very tiny nitpick, though. I wouldn't pay too much attention to that. In general, however, I think I would rate this figure an 8.4 out of 10. It is a very good SH MonsterArts, and I think in terms of standout, it's one of my better ones because of the fact that I have no other Kong SH MonsterArts. So this is very, very nice for what it is. I think it'll stand out. And in terms of applying to the con here, you can see me right now. I'm trying to keep this standing, but it's having a little bit of trouble. There we go. That's a good pose, by the way. But anyways, guys, I really would recommend you get this figure. Again, I'd rate this an 8.4 out of 10. I hope you enjoyed this review. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys later, and bye-bye.